Reducing excessive emphasis on money is another way, which comes as a suggestion on how to prune the excesses in the Nigerian politics. An example which is the case of allegation that some INEC officials received money to manipulate the outcome of the 2015 elections.
So we should reduce the power of money in our body politics. That is the major solution to our problem. If we don't attach too much financial benefits, if the allowances for senators is just 250,000 naira, many people will not contest.
Independent candidature is one suggestion that resounds from a lot of Nigerians.
I don't see any reason, especially at the lower levels, why Mr. X thinks he has what it takes for a local government chairman and go out there. It doesn't have to be PDP and what have you. Go out there and do what he needs to do. Independent candidates, we need that. Because what we've got is just, he has to go buy, he has to go pay homage to people, he has to, come on. It's just too many obstacles in his way. For him to just, he has to go for primaries, he has to compete with all sorts of cowboys, and it's just, that's so discouraging. First, let's look for independent candidates, especially at the grassroots level, because the people know them. They're from the neighborhood, the people know them, so the people can vouch for them. They don't have to carry any political tag to do the job they want to do, okay? So that's important.
If that proposal is approved, it's going to strengthen internal party democracy, because you know now that it's not, if you mess your candidate up, a popular candidate, you can seek other platform. So you cannot seal his fate just by contrivance or conspiracy at the level of political party. But in terms of cost, I doubt if it is going to reduce the cost of doing election. It's likely to go up, because you can latch onto resources of other members of the party bureaucracy. They can contribute. In fact, a party, the beauty of going through a party platform is that even a candidate that is so good, is credible ethically, and the party is keen at sponsoring because it's an asset on its own, can be supported by the party even if he has no money, and he can rely on the party machinery and the resources as a platform on which he can get into the National Assembly or become a governor and so on and so forth. But if you are not coming through a party, you are likely to be on your own and you may end up spending more money.
The 2015 elections also had a not-so-good part of the story, which was a postponement from February 14 and 28 to March 28 and April 11 for the governorship and state assemblies elections. The reason given was basically security, both in the northeastern part of the country and other areas.
There's no way, if you have to do 36 governorship election, you have to do National Assembly elections, or you do National Assembly election together with the presidential election, you haven't got the security personnel that you need to police those elections if you rely primarily on security to safeguard your elections. The more security men you posted, you deploy to secure your election, what happens to voters' turnout is the negative. The more you deploy, the less the voters turn out. So it's not in the interest of democracy, of securing it, because what you want to do is to secure the electoral process, election security, and you don't respond to it by deploying more security personnel. Otherwise, you're going to get a backlash in terms of voters' participation, because people are likely to be scared at it. And that is what initially we are told, that the more security personnel you deploy, the better for the electoral process, the better secure the electoral process becomes. But again, what happens to voters' turnout? We saw a reverse in voters' turnout, so it's not the way to go.
Elections in Nigeria has also had a history of long legal battles in court long after the election. This is one area which the committee says it is looking to reduce.
Our own contributions out of this exercise, how we can reduce the court involvement in our electoral system to barest minimum. There'll still be the court there. We are trying to see if it is possible for people to win elections at polling booths, not at the court premises. Because right now it costs more to pursue litigations after electoral process, after elections, than during the campaign. People reserve lots of their resources to wage litigation battle. That is not held enough. If after the electorate finish delivering their mandate to a particular person, either for one reason, for one technical fault or the other, through our legal system, the person is thrown out. In other words, the mandate is vitiated because of our style of ambushing people legally. For instance, we are trying to see if by our recommendations we can cut down on the number of months spent in the court premises regarding the issue of pre-election matters that now go on more than 2, 3, 4 years. Because it wasn't too long ago that the matter with my former governor, Governor Sullivan Chime, the matter had been on at the Supreme Court almost 2 years after he left office. And he was in office for 8 years. So if we can have time limit also included in our Electoral Act for pre-election matters, and see how we can quicken even the post-election litigations.
But beyond the reforms and paperwork, many believe that individuals in the country need to be conscious of the need for upward movement and must have their mind set to achieve this. Once again, restructuring Nigeria resurfaces.
The ideal structure would be to have a president whom I believe should even be a ceremonial president, visiting states and commissioning projects. There will be competition among the states. Lagos State will want to do what Ogun State is doing very well, and there will be collaboration. Niger State will want to do what's good that is going on in Benue State, and so on and so forth. And the president probably is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, sits down to ensure that every state does its own part, gives a pat on the back for those states that are doing well, encourage them to do more, and then maybe he's in charge of defense, he's in charge of, he doesn't have to run the railway for Nigeria, the president doesn't have to, the center doesn't have to, maybe customs and a few other major institutions, foreign affairs, and it should be somebody that is sound.
APC had 50-something% of the total number in the National Assembly, and PDP had the rest, 40-something. But PDP cannot nominate a minister into the government, into the APC government. That's winner's take all. The first past the post, we need to address that. And in fact, one area where I'm expecting electoral reform to come on board is in that area of proportional representation. Don't let winners take all. If winners take all, desperation will set in and people will be willing to die in the course of seeking political office. But if I know that if I get 30% of the votes, I'm likely to be asked to nominate people into 30% of the posts, I need not be desperate. Then I try as much as I can to have a bite. But if there's no bite for me and I spend so much money, then I'll be desperate to want to truncate the electoral process and to want to truncate the process of election. In fact, that will minimize, it's going to minimize tremendously the violence that normally greets every election in this country. Proportional representation, you do away with first past the post, so that, because if you defeat me, if I'm defeated by just one vote, you take all and I lose all. Why will I not be desperate to make sure you do not have that additional one, that I will be prepared to let the process be truncated rather than for me to lose out completely.
Reforms are on, suggestions are on, and we hope that you would contribute, and you can do that by communicating with us on our social media platforms. Until next time on Big Story, I'm Amy Thompson.